It's the morning of November 2023. You wake up, expecting a normal day, but as you reach for your phone to check the time, you realize something is very wrong. Your phone is dead. No lights, no power. You go to boot up your computer. Nothing. You flip the light switch in your bedroom. Still nothing. No power whatsoever. You look out the window and see your neighborhood is pitch black. No lights on anywhere. An uneasy feeling starts to creep in as you wonder what on earth has happened. You tune your emergency radio to the local station. Only static. You try another station. More static. No radio signals getting through whatsoever. An uncomfortable silence hangs in the air. Has the power grid completely collapsed? How widespread is this? With growing dread, you realize you have no way of finding out. No working electronics, no radio or internet. For all you know, this could be happening across the entire country. The what-ifs start to race through your mind, each scenario bleaker than the last. This seems like the aftermath of an apocalyptic event, societal collapse, back to the Stone Age. But what on earth could cause nationwide electric and communication failure like this? Unbeknownst to most people, a massive explosion erupted from the surface of the sun just days ago. A fierce, terrifying solar storm, and it's slamming into Earth's magnetic field as we speak. But before we dive further into this scary scenario, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to join our community on mini-doc adventures into hypothetical realms. On the sun's surface, tangled and twisted magnetic fields suddenly snapped. In an instant, they released an unfathomable flood of energy. We're talking 10 billion megatons of TNT exploding all at once. To put that into perspective, the most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated on Earth, the Soviet Tsar bomber, was 50 megatons. This solar explosion packs the punch of 200 million Tsar bombers all going off simultaneously. That's the type of tremendous, mind-boggling explosion that can occur on the surface of our sun. These are known as solar flares, and they can release as much energy in mere minutes as a billion nuclear detonations on Earth. The flare itself doesn't directly impact us here on Earth, but it's usually accompanied by an even more destructive phenomenon, an explosive mass of charged particles and plasma called a coronal mass ejection, or CME. Think of the flare as a warning shot, and the CME as the cannonball. This storm of magnetized solar plasma races towards Earth at 2,000 kilometers per second, containing enough energy to topple power grids worldwide. Now, before we talk about other things, let's listen to what David Tice, a geopolitical strategist and producer-director of the eye-opening documentary Grid Down Power Up, had to say about this.
So if we truly have an outage that is nationwide, that lasts 9 months, the EMP Commission, which is a commission that was mandated by U.S. Congress, and it has much more authority and better funding than a congressional committee, they found that as many as 90% of Americans would die.
Now that you heard him, let me also tell you guys that one such terrifying CME storm is impacting Earth at this very moment. Scientists have warned for decades that a direct hit from a strong CME could have catastrophic implications for modern civilization. However, models predicting potential impacts are far from perfect. As one expert explains, without proper modeling of such complex interconnected risks, the impacts are largely unknown. Insurance firms thought they were prepared, but as today's nationwide blackout clearly illustrates, they vastly underestimated and misunderstood the threat. The world is witnessing firsthand the terrifying potential of a massive solar storm impacting Earth directly. The question on everyone's mind is, can humanity survive this? We rely so heavily on electricity and communications technology in the modern world. If this outage lasts weeks or months, the breakdown of infrastructure and supply chains could threaten the very fabric of society. For the moment, all we can do is wait anxiously in darkness for power to hopefully be restored. But our technological civilization is extraordinarily vulnerable to the whims of our volatile star, We may have just witnessed the starting point of a collapse from which there is no coming back. Days turn into weeks with no reprieve from the blackout. Food spoils in freezers. Hospitals scramble to care for patients without vital equipment. Fears of unrest grow as essential services remain paralyzed. This is no ordinary power outage. Electrical engineers inspecting the grid are left stunned and bewildered. Massive transformers meant to last decades have been utterly destroyed and equipment melted from the inside. We've never seen anything like this before, they say. Experts finally confirm what we feared. This continent-wide blackout was triggered by a massive solar storm slamming the Earth's magnetic field. The explosion on the Sun was just the beginning. It unleashed a terrifying hurricane of charged particles and magnetic mayhem that continues battering the planet. Now let's go back to what David Tice said about this issue.
So let me also mention, even if you had some backup generators, and some people, some institutions like hospitals or apartments might have backup generators, but then how much diesel supply do you have? And then sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's a day and a half, maybe it might be 30 days, but then your diesel's not going to be delivered, because there's going to be chaos.
That is scary, isn't it? Like an angry child smashing a toy, the sun's temper tantrum is leaving devastation in its wake. Communications satellites orbiting Earth are being fried one by one. Normally lasting 15 years, their delicate electronics are no match for this radiation onslaught. A $640 million satellite was just permanently damaged beyond repair. How much more destruction awaits? For those clinging to hope the worst is over, heliophysicists have grim news. This solar storm is far from finished. The initial eruption was just the first in a barrage of solar flare explosions, unleashing wave after wave of magnetic chaos. Can humanity survive this? Is no longer an abstract question. The destruction of critical infrastructure and loss of communications threaten the very foundations of civilization. If this keeps up, how long can already strained supply chains hold on? How long before social order unravels? While the situation is dire, all hope is not lost. Experts assure the public this too shall pass. The sun's temper will eventually settle. While solar storms can last days, even weeks, they cannot rage forever. The geomagnetic bombardment will subside. Power and communications will be restored. Improvements are already underway to harden electrical grids against future space weather threats. Better monitoring of the sun's activity will give early warning of looming storms. Improved models are being developed to better predict impacts down to Earth. We gain wisdom through adversity, and this tribulation will push us to better understand and respect the invisible threat lurking 93 million miles away. The sun giveth light and warmth, and the sun taketh away. One day in the future, parents will tell their children of the great blackout of 2023, how the sun plunged the world into darkness and threatened to undo centuries of progress, but also how humanity persevered, worked together, and emerged on the other side stronger and wiser. After weeks of apocalyptic blackness, power is gradually being restored around the world. Like flowers turning their faces back to the sun, people begin venturing outside once more as a sense of normalcy returns. The catastrophic solar storm of 2023 has passed, but its impacts will reverberate for years. It illuminated the existential threat our volatile sun poses, capable of both nourishing life and plunging civilization into darkness. This sobering reminder of our star's fearsome power must not be forgotten. As grids are re-engineered for resilience and monitoring improves, we must remain ever vigilant.